Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Far Side TV. Jeremy Scippio in the house. Been a couple
What's
moons.
going on, people? Yep,
Man,
fresh off that BET Awards circuit.
yeah, we getting it together. You know what I'm saying? We were supposed to have Brinley Campbell, relative by relation, but
Okay.
she's out there doing her track thing, and so we had a couple technical difficulties. So we'll bring her back in a little bit further down the line. So
Yeah, man, we got a lot of guests that we gotta maybe follow up on. I mean, we got some a really good catalog, so what I mean. Yeah, I think we should go ahead and start tapping into that. But that's good though, and congratulations to your cousin. We're gonna have her back on. That'd be cool.
yes, sir. So what's the last album you listened to?
Last album. Well, the homie dropped an album, so I had to check that out. Then before that would be the Lil Wayne album. Uh, I mean, I don't. So look, I'm not like the rest of the internet. I'm not going to write it off so fast. Now, I'll be honest with you. There was some stuff that I wasn't crazy about, but I'll be honest with you. Controversial opinion. I've never been the biggest Lil Wayne fan. Like I'm a fan of the hits, the fun stuff. And if I could be honest with you, my favorite Lil Wayne album is probably "I'm Not a Human Being Too." That's how, which that's so controversial because everybody likes the Carter series. But positive things about Lil Wayne, the Carter series is the highest grossing hip hop series of all time. So
Wow.
you got that as this, a marker. And they compared it to, a bunch of other people. Eminem has multiple series, Jay-Z, so that's the thing. But yeah, the Carter Six, um, I'm going to give it another listen. But so far it's not great. And it's been confirming how people have been feeling since the Super Bowl debacle. And this is supposed to be the answer to the Super Bowl thing because this is what once Lil Wayne was like, he was upset about the Super Bowl situation. Then he said, you know what? I'm gonna start focusing on working on the Carter Six. So this is what he was working on instead of the Super Bowl.
Well, you know, what what I'll say to that is so myself personally, I've never really had a connection with any song other than I want to say I heard him on a remix. Uh I want to say it was the TI when he sampled the MIA song.
Uh, well, you talking about Swagger Like Us?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's the only man. Yeah, you probably shouldn't speak on Wayne. That's the only Wayne reference you have.
Hey,
You don't have nothing else in you. That's as far as
hey, I struggled, and because it was like at one point he was so cocky, he was like, basically he's better than Jay-Z, da 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 da. At a time when Jay-Z was on fire, in my eyes, he was on fire. You know what I'm saying? But it was brought to my attention by somebody else that if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have the Young Thugs and the like. He basically inspired a genre of rap music.
yeah, but you said it like it was a positive thing.
I'm
You said it like if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have all this degenerate BS. I mean, it's
but
correct, but
no, but this is the thing though.
what?
Just because it's not for me doesn't mean that it's not for us. Like when I put it this way, I'm 100% comfortable in not being into something, but I can respect the people that are into something that a lot of people are into, you know?
Yeah, I'm into the highest truth. You know what I'm saying? Like the greatest and highest truth. There's a higher truth beyond all that stuff, beyond generation, beyond young and old. There's a truth. You know what I'm saying? And the truth is, Lil Wayne's okay. The stuff he spawned was garbage, and it's been garbage. And this is the almighty mind of it all. It's not as like a, oh, I understand because I don't like it. The other, no. Young Thug garbage, bro. Come at me, everybody. Young Thug's absolutely garbage. He took the worst parts of Wayne, and
But
he
you
made
have,
he's
but you
no,
got
I
to
don't
give
have
him
to.
credit. You got to give
No,
him credit because he did
no.
something that a lot of people
Wayne
connected.
or Wayne or Young Thug,
Young Thug.
bruh. That's
He,
auto tune and thug imagery. That's
you
not
can call it
technical
what you
skill.
want, but what I'm saying is a lot of people connected with what he did.
With commercialism, we gotta give commercialism and the powers that be the credit, but we're not gonna say this is artistic skill. We can talk about as far as hits go. So I pay attention. I'm not just some dude talking out of my butthole. You know what I'm saying? He had a lifestyle, which is what got him on the map. That was the group project that Birdman put together. Now you understand Birdman is in the Situate system, and Birdman was openly trying to groom a Lil Wayne replacement. So this is all connected. You know what I mean?
This,
Young
I'll say
Thug,
this:
Young Thug is not someone who grassroots made a hit that connected with
I
people.
am
This is a
not an
machine.
advocate for Young Thug. What I'm saying is this: I was scrolling on the internet. I think it was 2 days ago. Today, no, today's
Uh-huh.
Tuesday, so it had to be. It was either yesterday or Sunday. Yeah, it was yesterday or
Yeah.
Sunday. I'm not sure, but I was on the internet and I saw a picture of a. You know what? That's not even him. I was about to bash. I was about to bash the wrong person. I was gonna say I saw a picture of Lil Uzi Vert, and I was gonna use Homeboy as an example.
I, I,
The
I,
Old
I
Town Road dude.
Yeah, I give him more credit, even though I'm not crazy about him either. But he is a Lil Wayne offspring, um, Lil Uzi, and I would say he has a better ability of cutting through off of artistic skill, than a Young Thug. A Young Thug is using more of the thug imagery and all the other stuff. And I'm not saying that's bad because, for example, 50 Cent used a lot of thug imagery to get to where he was at. 50 Cent's also extremely talented. You know what I mean? Like what he did, you know what I mean? As far as like pruning, knowing how to turn like a nice soul sample into like an actual like hard hitting song. That's good. Young Thug, like if you just played a snippet of Young Thug music, there's no way you would translate that as music. You would translate that as noise. And I'm only here to tell the truth,
You the
man.
old man. You the
I'm
old man today.
This has nothing to do with age, bro. This is facts versus fiction. Like Lifestyle was a good song because of the hook. The London featuring J. Cole had a good hook. There's no Young Thug verse. You like, oh, let me play that back. That's from the come on, man.
There's no Little Wayne verse that I feel like, oh man, play
No,
that back.
that's not true. Lil Wayne got verses,
You
man.
said that's not true.
Yeah, Lil Wayne, he's a really good. That's what I'm saying. Like me as a not so much of a Wayne fan, when he connected, I would say from '06 to '07 to '08. When '08 he was the biggest rap artist. That's not up for debate. '08 was his year. '09 he introduced Drake, which started a whole Young Money. That started a whole other thing. But '06 to '08, that Wayne, I mean, Amelia alone, like I watched perform at the BET awards or whatever. You were like, okay, this is why. I mean, and it's not even a properly formatted song. That's just him rapping. Like I bet you there was no second takes of a million because that's how he raps. But
tell,
that's
tell me this.
uh-huh.
If you had to put his new album on a scale with, hold on one sec.
Okay.
If you had to put his new album on a scale with G and X, which is a heavier album?
Well, for sure, G and X. But I would say they accomplished two separate things. To me, they're both concept albums in a way. I think Carter 6, Lil Wayne was trying to show his range and be more experimental. G and X, I think Kendrick was trying to bring it back down a little bit because he's been concept albums and experimental this whole time. So he made like a more LA based central album with no skits. So, I would say to the point where people thought GNX was a mixtape. I would have suggested Lil Wayne to take that route more so. Anyway, he probably should have released because that's his strongest suit anyway. They call it mixtape weed. So he probably should have did that first and called that and then made a Carter 6. Anyway, that's my take.
So one of my favorite groups has an album that's about to come out,
Okay.
highly anticipated,
Okay.
went through drama and hatred.
Okay.
And I read a comment on YouTube about their new album, and my sentiment is 100% in agreement. And I think it was about 6,000 other people that felt the same way. The comment read, so you think in 2025, I'm going to listen to some cocaine music and be hyped the same way I was 20 years ago? You're exactly right. The
Yeah, I'm about to
clips, the,
say,
the clips, the
yeah.
clips are the best to ever do it, man.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a ridiculous take to say like, hey, I'm not gonna like this certain thing. I don't know, for me, because I know I go back and forth for people as far as like, let's just say, okay, of course you have drug stuff as negative imagery. Some people feel like we don't need that, but I think it's unfair that like, for example, white people can be more conceptual with their art than black people. But I do understand that there's a lot of people that take it too seriously, and it turns into like a more negativity on the black culture, black experience, black on black crime, all that stuff. But I like to argue the numbers when it comes to white stuff or white based stuff is way larger than black stuff. Now, per capita might be a little different, but I would just say overall, I like a specific type of music. I like to hit hard. I like to have, and clearly these guys aren't selling cocaine anymore. Um, so cool because we also get No Malice returning. He went on a hiatus because he found Jesus, which I always think is interesting when people Mace. I think he was the first one to do it, but a lot of people have done it, including Kanye. When they find Jesus, they always find their way back to rapping, and which it makes you question the motive. And I don't think you can't. I don't think you can't make music and not serve Jesus, but that's how they felt. So I just wonder when a person does that, like what's you know, I don't know. Like, what
Well,
do you feel?
they had went through a lot too, you
In
know,
what way?
the clips. They had a situation where their road manager ended up getting arrested. And,
Okay.
you know, I don't know if Malice was part of that or whatever, but there was definitely a trickle down effect of like things going on. And I just say, man, it ain't nothing like your life flashing before your eyes to make you attached to something higher than yourself. You know.
I definitely could see that because bringing up Mace, I mean, that was all that stuff that was going down. He's seen stuff that he probably still ain't speaking on. So
Man,
let me run. Hey, let
man.
me run.
Hey,
So yeah, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to Eclipse. That's another thing too. I wasn't the biggest Clips fan, but I did own Lord Willing. Um, I think the Clips works in a certain bubble where you have because they make good songs, but I think it has to be, for real beats, and it has to be like a good hook, in and out rapping, and then get the heck out of there. I don't need no concept album from Eclipse. I don't need them doing nothing that ain't right here. Have you heard the trumpets track? No trumpets or something like that.
yeah, ace trumpets.
Yeah, yeah. What you think?
Dope.
So I thought the beat was a little lackluster, but if we're gearing up, that's fine. That's all. I need my Pharrell beats, bro. I need like, you know what I'm saying? Like you've been spoiling us.
Man.
I'm good, and I mean, there's too many. It's too many like classics that I'm gonna need that. But yeah, shout out to the Clips. Also, I heard that supposedly Pusha T had to pay $1 million to get out of his contract. I'll be honest with you, I call cap. I think Rock Nation paid their money, but that's just me, my speculation. I mean, not saying he ain't got it, but I don't think he got it to give. That's crazy.
You know what? I think where we at right now, uh, everything's about sensationalism.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And so whatever it is, you got to have a story on top of the story on top of the story in
right.
order to, you know, make it, the whole, Kendrick song and, the whole,
Yeah,
you
yeah, it's all
know,
promotion.
all,
Because
but I will
I
say
was gonna say
this.
Kendrick got this verse, like okay, whatever.
Did you hear the song that Kendrick did with him years ago?
Oh, you talking about nostalgia with
Yes.
Pusha T? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah,
Dude. Honestly, I would say Pusha T is probably definitely in the top 7 MCs, man.
top 7 is a lot. Now I do appreciate him, but I think you gotta throw a Pusha T up against like the Jada Kiss. You know what I'm saying? There's some that can get with him. I even, I'm not the biggest fan of his. I even throw game at him. Some people who can get down. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But I say once he took down Drake, I think that made him like it was like, yeah, like you can't just throw you can't just say anything about Pusha T, man. Once he took Drake, everybody wanted Drake, and he took Drake down. That was like, yeah. So I never son him, but yeah, I think you could throw a Jadakiss at Jadakiss versus Pusha T battle. I don't know who will win that.
Are you sure?
I'm sure, and my edge would be towards Jadakiss.
Are you sure?
Positive.
I think Pusha T makes better songs.
I mean, that's debatable.
Jadakiss can do some dope verses, but Pusha T does dope songs.
I mean, but we talking about like battling. Like you gotta Pusha T just started making battle records. Like Jadakiss been making battle. Like that's his whole lane. Like I don't have no other reference for Pusha T battle records other than his tracks that he made dissing Wayne and getting no response, and then the one where
Drake.
he killed Drake. But Jadakiss he's a veteran in the battling world. Like he has bodies on bodies. The battle with him and Beanie Siegel, that's a classic. You know what I'm saying? Battling 50 Cent, battling Jay-Z himself. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, I can't erase history, man. So I can't I give Pusha T for putting on a good display, especially for the old school, because he older than Kanye. He may look young, got good skin, but that's an old man.
Nah, he's definitely older than Kanye, man.
That's what
For
I'm
sure.
saying. But he made his way into the lower class, like a lower classman. But that's an old guy. He's an older guy. So Jadakiss is a more somebody in his realm that if he battled him, I'm like, okay, we can see some real sparring. But yeah, anyway, that's just my take on
Well, I'm never one that likes to pile it on when somebody's going through something.
that.
But your man, Lord Jamar, man.
Yeah. What you mean going through something, man? That's self-inflicted.
Well, it started before that.
Okay.
It started on Godfrey's podcast. I'll say the
That's self-inflicted too.
the
He
uh
thought the earth was flat. He feels like the earth is flat.
well
He wanted people to agree with him.
I'm not, you know, I'm 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 not gonna pile it on him, man. I'm not gonna
You
pile it on him. I'm just gonna say
Can
he
we tell the
felt
truth?
very firm in his opinions, and then when someone challenged him, it's like he wanted his homeboy to step in and shield him from being challenged. And then he just started not making sense at all.
Can you tell the truth? Oh, we just lost.
Give me the unfiltered version.
The truth is that's your homie.
Oh,
You don't have no history with Lord Jamar.
no, not at all.
Okay. The way you was talking was like you gonna see him.
No, 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 not at all.
Okay.
I felt when I saw the episode of him getting debated on the flat earther stuff, and then after that episode, when um when uh when he started coming with they laced my blunt, and and the guy was homosexual. It's like, dude, he was throwing everything out there that had nothing to do with what the conversation was. And he he was debating someone who was more knowledgeable than him.
Yeah, man. Classic losing a debate tactics when you start deflecting and bringing, oh, it's something in my eye. Oh, oh, hold on, let me tie my shoe, man. Come on, man. I just woke up, bro. You stood on some BS. And hey, look, I ain't never seen it from a distance, but also I think a losing argument is also as a person who hasn't seen the Earth going against people who actually have, or that's they feel. It's just some. It's okay, bro. You only like okay at rapping. Like you're not. There's no way you are a dope rapper, scientist, marine biologist, rocket shit. Like if it's not your field, just like, you know what? I have some theories, I have some thoughts. This is a good idea. But Lord Jamar, at this point, he's kind of a caricature anyway, you know, because
Dude,
he's known more for his antics than he is for his like he's not invited to the events,
I'll
the honor
tell
and hip hop stuff.
I'll tell you where he lost me. 100% when he said he wanted to debate Neil deGrasse Tyson, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, he's out of his mind, dude. It's like, so you're gonna debate somebody whose whole life has been uh the life of a physicist, like someone who thinks in they literally think in mathematical equations, like their brain, like they don't know how to not think in equations. And then Lord
Yeah.
Jamar is supposed to come and debate this guy. He lost me there.
Yeah, well, we're in this very internet sensationalist era where as long as what's up, Frank? As long as you are one of the people who are making noise on the internet, it's like crossover appeal. So I understand because um, Neil deGrasse Tyson has some hot takes himself that has, branched the internet. So he'll get some clicks and some views. Lord Jamar, Neil deGrasse Tyson. But at the end of the day, Lord Jamar, his record, like you can be wrong on the internet, but I say his record isn't backing him up. That's at this point, it's your record. Like you have a record for being on some BS. You know what I'm saying? Like because even with the Eminem stuff, you slightly had a point, but then your record started coming into question. Now you got to defend yourself. You know what I'm saying? So that's the issue. So yeah, man. Hey, it's gonna be something else. But yeah, him popping up on Vlad. Even me, I got into some stuff on Twitter because I didn't realize I was responding to DJ Vlad's actual Twitter, but he had put it out there like, why do like what is a cultural vulture? He says, is everybody white in hip hop? Because is everybody white in hip hop considered a culture vulture? No, he said, name somebody who's white in hip hop who's not considered a culture vulture. And everybody just started naming a whole bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? I threw my hat in there. I said Scott Storch. I mean, it's just, bro, you don't just because you try to make it a race thing. Like, no, culture vulture is someone who's leeching, especially off the negative stuff in hip hop, but is not giving back or promoting the positivity. And it got to the point where he started inserting his opinions on stuff in the room with legends who are there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a student when somebody who's actually there speaks. Like I can't. How am I going to usurp you? You were there, But
Yeah.
Vlad has gone that far. So, and one of the main people who led the protest against Vlad and his culture vulture ways was Lord Jamar. So, if he was trying to earn some credibility back, going on DJ Vlad's podcast at this point, it looks like a desperate play for money. And I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like.
You know, I feel like, you know, I couldn't watch, so I watched like a 7 minute clip, and it was like he was shadow boxing with himself, and basically like, well, Vlad, and nah, it looked like Vlad paid him to come on there and make nice.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, of course, because he wants his pass back into the vulturism. Like I need you took something from me, I want it back. Hey, let's make this an even trade because you down bad. If Lord Jamar was up, then he wouldn't mess with it. But hey, I get it, whatever, bro. But we can't. We all real want to see through it. I ain't got nothing against Vlad. I ain't got nothing against Lord Jamar for real, but just calling it for what it is. You know what I mean? Like I said, just the highest truth, man. That's it. No offense to the people. If you're in the crossfires of the highest truth, then blame yourself because I just look at the everything you did. That's it. Moving on a little bit. This is actually I think would have been a good topic for your cousin, but I want to talk about Simone Biles. Hold on, I want to get this correct because I don't think I have all the information. But yeah, Simone Biles got into it with Riley Gaines over trans athletes. Now, this has been a growing concern, especially because, um, you know, basically it affects women more than men because a lot of men, formerly, I'm gonna watch my words on this, former men who become women want to compete against women, but then they're actually like making some leeway and becoming like champions in women's sports. Um, I think Simone Biles, uh, she was kind of backing the sentiments of the trans athletes, and Riley Gaines pushed back heavily against it. But I think the most current thing, yeah, Biles called. She said Riley was sick for not being a. They made it a rights issue. Like hey, they should have the right to compete equally. And let's say Simone
Trans,
Biles,
trans, excuse me.
trans trans
So
athletes.
so men who tr- tr- who became women or who identify as women. She thinks that it
Mhm.
should be a right that men that identify as women should be able to compete in sports against women.
Yeah, I think at this point, Simone Biles, because we got to be real as far as like how history and attention goes.
Mm-hmm.
She's like currently the biggest
Paid
gymnast.
athlete. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, she's huge.
Mm-hmm.
So her words, she in a way she's like a billboard. Whether it's her opinion or it's somebody else's opinion coming through her, you know, it's she might be speaking on something she's not as versed in, just trying to say the right thing. And I don't know, that's just my opinion, but Riley Gaines, she's going to get um she's going to blow up from this. I mean, because she's like yeah, she said she got support from her stance against transgender athletes um, in women and girls sports, and it's been a little back and forth, but literally they're bigging up this girl because of her opinion. But I think I'm looking for it right now. I think Simone Biles apologized. I'm trying to find the apology, but as of right now, let me see. Simone Biles doesn't realize what she's admitting to about trans women in her post. It's an interesting thing, especially because also there's other dynamics going on here. Um, yeah, because you got the girl Riley Gaines is a NAA NC. I was about to say NAACP. It's a white woman. NCAA Olympic swimmer or All American swimmer, and she says, let me see. talked about the gymnast, Olympic gymnast, employing her to create a avenue where trans feels safe in sports and offer an idea of a transgender category in all sports, which a lot of people have opened up to this, but I think a lot of trans people and people who are aligned with the LGBTQIA plus, the community part, not the people. Sorry, I said that wrong. The organization, not the people, but they feel like they should be integrated directly in it. So it's an interesting debate, especially when you have, a black woman versus a white woman. The white woman kind of, at least in this scenario, making a little more sense. It's an interesting conversation. That's all. What's your opinion on it?
I have two.
Okay.
One, but this would just open the biggest can of worms ever. They should do it based on testosterone testing.
Oh wow, yeah, you're going deep. So you think that, but that's going to open some more doors. Like, what if, as a man, you don't have enough testosterone to compete with the other men?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
said, yeah. What
yeah.
if it's just
That's
what if you?
like I said. So that's one way. That's one way.
Okay,
And
okay,
then the other way is it should just be a uh another it should be men's sports, women's sports, and then trans sports.
yeah, that's the category conversation.
Yeah.
Um, or at least trans, trans friendly in a way where, you know, you don't know, but it's implied. You know what I mean? Where this one is like special teams, you know. You say no?
Nah. It needs
Yeah,
to be
why did
it
you don't
needs to
think
be it needs to be men's, it needs to be women's, and then it needs to be trans. I mean, dude,
but
if
Joanna Man was a good movie though.
oh, this dude, I look at it like this: the big three.
Okay,
You
what's the
got
big
you,
thing?
dude. You got the big three. You got dope athletes. You got you the best of the best, and it's not the NBA, and it's not the B League or the C League, but it is something that's entertaining.
Okay, so here's the update. Let's see. Biles wrote, and we can move on from here. I've always believed uh, competitive equality and inclusivity are both essential in sports. Um, let's see, but the current system doesn't adequately balance these important principles, which often leads to frustration and heated exchanges. And it didn't help for me to get personal with Riley, which I apologize for. So she apologized for getting personal. I gotta do more research on this, but basically, she basically saying, I apologize for calling you names, but not about her. Same, and that was also, what was it, social media reach? Yeah, that was a PR statement. Daggone it.
No, that's dude. You said it as I was thinking about it about 3 minutes before you said it. What that was, the chairmans of the boards and all that of them sponsorships and all that. She got to fix this. She got to fix this. We got like so get okay. Get the speech written. Let's set the stage. Let's launch it. This will be yesterday's news. You know,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
that's
she's once you hit that Wheaties box, you know what I mean? Like your opinions are not your opinions. Like you gotta, what I'm saying? We don't have a Kanye West of athletes. That's not a thing. You know what I mean? Like once you are like the athlete, like you got
yeah,
like you taking pictures with the American flag, you gotta chill. And that's just the thing. Because they'll take it from you overnight. And that ain't no
insanely.
side money in that one. I haven't seen the Olympic gold medalist start a podcast and then take the Joe Budden route. So yeah, good luck, Simone. I still support you and your endeavors, but I think this one you spoke a little too fast.
Yeah. So moving on, man. This Diddy trial, man.
Mhm.
Ooh wee, ooh
Yes.
wee. I haven't watched too much of it. I've had the footnotes, I've had the footnotes and whatnot. But I will say, um, they're painting the women that were involved, at least the women that they're putting on the stand. They seem to be have been with it, man. you know.
Okay, that's broad. Can't go with you there. That's broad. I hear you. You gotta go individual.
All right.
Yeah, because we on day. You gotta think about it. We on day like I think we day 14 of the trial, probably 15, something like that. And we've had a lot of people on now, and each scenario was slightly unique. You know, so you have to be specific.
Let's start with the let's start with the one that tipped the scale.
Yeah,
Cassie.
great person, great mother, daughter, madam.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who you haven't heard from, and I got a theory on that.
Mhm.
You have not heard from Young Miami.
Yeah. Yeah. Which was who was at the BET Awards. Um, yeah. I mean, I think, because this is the government, this is a federal court case.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they came to people with different situations, different offers, and however they bid, however they decided to throw in there. I say that her relationship with Diddy isn't sour yet, or it hasn't ended sourly. So that's probably why, you know, she's able to escape some of this stuff. But all this remains to be seen.
I have another theory.
Okay.
She got interviewed and everything first, and there's a way for you to cooperate without really being out there like that. And I believe that she just got in front of it from the very beginning, and there was other people that probably would have made a bigger dog and pony show out of the
Yeah.
situation. And so she was able to avoid a lot of the craziness and just let these other people be the sacrificial lamb.
hmm Yeah, I can see that. I would like to move to a more current person because this is the one that kind of hit the internet. This is probably the biggest news that comes from the Diddy trial recently because it's a lot of news. It breaks news every day. But dang, what's her name? Oh, Daphne Joy. Daphne Joy went in as a Jane Doe, who people immediately recognized and immediately called her out. She's famous for being 50 Cent's baby mama. 50 Cent has two kids, and the heir to his throne, Sire is his name. This is his mother. Um, 50 has had this underlying beef that seemed very one-sided with Diddy. And any chance he got, he would roast him and go hard. And people was wondering where this came from because I would say maybe 10 years ago, they was both kicking it with Mayweather. They was part of the money team. It was 50, Floyd, Ray J, and Diddy. And yeah, then all of a sudden you just noticed 50 was hated Diddy. And we could not get a real explanation for it. But now the internet finally found out that Daphne Joy, like pretty much, he took 50's baby mama and turned it to a
Well, well, well.
go ahead.
This thing about that. 50 was saying she was what you was about to say she was turned into before all this Diddy stuff boiled over.
Yeah, well, he, I guess that was his way of mentioning. I mean, once they got caught in public, though, you
I'm
know,
saying though, this was like maybe about like 2 or 3 years ago. 50 was like, you
I
know,
mean,
she's
I
an
mean, I think
adult
it,
whoopty wham.
I think, excuse me, I think it was when it happened because you got to understand. He had the kid. They had the kid together,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say once the kid was like about 3 or something, that's when you started seeing um her Diddy roll around together because she was his off and on, and to the point where the trial once he got picked up, that's when they stopped. So they still technically current. You know what I mean? That's how, you know, I mean, I don't know who it could have been like, you know how Diddy played. He could have hooked her up, told her to go get 50. You know what I'm saying? It could have been that deep. Like, hey, I need you to do me a favor, make him fall in love. And there's some pictures that hit the internet. I think this is why it's kind of, hits a certain spot. Because 50 is kind of known as is clearly a openly tough guy. So you don't really get to see him like fall for women. Even when he was with Vivica Fox, he didn't display, love or fell for a smitten. He just kind of was like playing along. Like, I mean, when he was with Sierra, that was another thing. He kind of just played it cool. There's pictures of, and this is all speculation. There's pictures of 50 Cent and Daphne Joy where he looked genuinely in love, and the internet is roasting 50 for that.
But he looked
he
in love
seemed
with some of them actresses too. The some it was some blonde older actress that you would she didn't really look like a young woman, and didn't really look you know
maybe it's non-black women or something. I don't know, but yeah,
yeah.
they got pictures. They got pictures of 50 Cent on a beach with her taking photos like this and smiling and looking at the photos. Now this is one off, so people put their context on it, but they just was like, damn, that hurt, man. Like he took your baby mama and just slutted her out, I guess. And this is her statements. Well, she didn't say slut her out, but she said that he put her she would do these sex pretty much. He introduced the idea. Her story is similar to Cassie's in the sense of they have freak offs, but she said he never used the term freak off with her. They called it hotel time. And pretty much first he messed with her, then of course they did it. Then he said he had these fantasies, and she was like, "Oh, tell me about your fantasies." She said the next time they linked up, they're doing the stuff, and he's making her have sex with all these men. And but the reason why she felt like she was doing it because he put her on a $10,000 a month allowance. Like he would pay her $10,000 a month to
Yeah,
be whatever he wanted her to be.
I heard one of the phone calls or the voice messages that he left, and it's just like, man, it ain't. If you got that much power, and like, it ain't fair, man. It ain't fair.
Well, in life, everybody's looking for the easy ride. The way you know what I'm saying. I barely blame her in that way,
I'm
but
just saying, he was
uh,
like, "Don't play these games with me." You know what I'm saying?
well, I mean, I think anybody gets entitled if they paying towards something that's not fruitful. You know what I mean? I mean, I think that's just human behavior. I'm not.
I just say all people involved are kind of.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, but I say, so this is a racketeering case, the RICO, and then you have, they want to prove that he is part of the kingpin of this, big empire. I'm not 100% sure how that plays into it, but I'll just say that they're doing good in building a case overall. But I'm not sure, you know, keep bringing chicks saying like, because in some way these women, I can tell they kind of care about him still.
No,
And,
and that's what I was saying from the
mhm.
whatever. It's like they feel he wasn't putting a gun in nobody's head, and they. It's like they were even say like, I miss you. I'm thinking about you. I'm like all this, and it's like, man. But Stockholm syndrome. So I'm not gonna. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna.
yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and then just this level of security, even though it's false security, I think it's just hard for a woman to ignore that. Like you getting $10,000 a month for doing absolutely nothing.
Nah, they was working.
You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Like, you're crazy. But I'm just saying, like, that's where, you're gonna get a little more I love yous out of somebody. Moving on to something, I might breeze through this because it's active, but I've there's a lot of internet guys that are becoming mainstream. You know what I mean? And this guy, I didn't know. I didn't know much about him, but apparently he's a rapper. I didn't know about him until he started. Him and Halle Bailey started dating. But DDG, who is a rapper and an internet streamer sensation, whatever. Um, he seemed like he actually just reached a new level of fame right before he got hit with. I guess Halle Bailey was accusing him of domestic violence, and it looks like that pretty much the internet is split because part of people are saying like there's he seems like the type, there's some history to it, and also they feel like that she basically she's supposed to go off to work on some film or something in Italy, and she's gonna be gone for a year, and she wants to take her child without any restriction. But you can't do that if you're co-parenting. So basically, if she accuses him of get a restraining order, then she could do it. And then also, in order to get a restraining order, you got to have something attached to it. You can't just put a restraining order on anybody just because, you
Mhm.
know. So that's where the accusation, of attacking possibly came from. This is all internet speculation. Um, you know, but supposedly and he released some calls, some back and forth. It looks messy, but I think the truth will come out over time. But he's apparently not the cleanest guy in general. Like he got somewhat of a track record. I don't know if that track record is hitting, but basically they had a volatile relationship at some point. It sucks because I don't know. I mean, maybe this is me getting older. I viewed them as a very young couple, and you got a baby involved. I mean, I think he's probably going to take off and do great things, even though I barely know what he does. And I think she probably, if she doesn't have any of this BS on her record, she could actually have a great acting career. So I think that both of them could, need to bring it back in and figure it out so they can work, man. Because this stuff, when it get real messy, they don't want to work with nobody. There's a lot of brands, a lot of money on the line over y'all
Hey,
just being upset at each other. So yeah.
hey. It's people that have done a lot less that are a rap.
Yeah. 'Cause even with Chris Brown and Rihanna, I think they both knew they need to be away from each other for work. You know what I mean? Like if when y'all get together, it's always some BS. Then you know what I mean? Like, and of course, Chris Brown. Now, Chris Brown actively did the thing that he did. Don't get me wrong, but you also have two legendary acts that could hit go all the way if they're not in some BS. If y'all together is the BS, then yeah, y'all need to
I read, it's so funny you
separate.
mentioned that. I read an article a couple days ago about her, and she was like, she wanted to forgive him after everything went haywire.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
Rock Nation was like, nope. they
Nah,
She said
yeah.
everybody was like, nope, nope,
Yeah.
nope.
Well, they had a second dating stint. I know that because my boy lived down the street from it was like 2014, I believe. A little blurry on the timeline, 2015 maybe, but my boy lived down the street from Chris Brown, and yeah, him and Rihanna used to argue there too. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, she gave him enough. They did a thing. Actually, he left. Yeah, he left Carucci to be with her again. Like he just left her. There's a famous story about him. She was watching TV in bed with him. They was watching I think a Lakers game or something like that. And he was like, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And he went to go finish watching the game from courtside. She said she thought him courtside with Rihanna. That's how she found out they was not together anymore.
Hey,
but but yeah, man. Sometimes that's whatever y'all got going on is messing up too much money. You know that's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? Like yeah, because Rihanna did hit him, but you're not supposed to hit a woman, and you also don't beat that. Like what he did
yeah,
was just beyond, defense in any shape or form. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just saying, money, sponsorships, legacies are at stake. There's no point in throwing that away just because y'all not in love no more. You know
man.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Speaking of under the microscope, so on to the most current of events, man. Ooh, this stuff going on in LA, man. The rebellions, I guess I mean, there's so many different things. You get so many different sides of it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll let you. Like, what do you feel about yeah, pretty much. I guess we could call this the immigration war, because it's a lot of illegals. I mean, everybody knows there's a lot of illegal people in LA. Illegal people, undocumented citizens, Mexicans mostly, who live in LA, and they are part of our economy. They, they make really amazing tacos and burritos. They they, they do housework.
They do
I
more
mean,
than that, man. They do
no,
more.
I'm not. I'm just saying how integrated they
Yeah,
are in
yeah,
what this is,
yeah.
to the point where people uh, of all races want to fight and march for
Dude,
them.
I'll tell you this: people aren't really paying attention, but like, okay, so I juice. That's my thing.
Okay.
Like the produce, dude, has gone up so much and gotten so much smaller because of the lack of the things that we can grow in California. They're not being enough people to kind of, to to handle the food chain. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff has, you know, we're getting it imported. Like some of the stuff that we could get kind of locally,
Yeah.
we're importing it, and it's like smaller and a lot more expensive. So uh I mean, I get that they say, and I have to remind people, they say, well, these are, people that are, involved in crime and da 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 da. But this is the thing, though. Being a black person in America, I understand it always starts somewhere and then it boils over.
Yeah, of course.
So it's kind of like it's crazy to me because you have people that are like, well, that's them, it ain't me, and da 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 da. And it's like, man, if you can't call out something wrong as an infant, it's no way you're gonna check it when it grows into a YN. You know what I'm saying?
You're crazy. You're crazy.
And that's a
Yeah,
fact.
yeah. You know, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I know a little bit too much about the economy, in a sense of like, you know, it's all connected. I try to tell people like, every time you see a skyscraper, you're gonna see more homeless people. You know what I mean? Because our our money exists on a seesaw. Like there's enough to go around. There's enough resources to go around, and that's just a fact. But in order to obtain a certain status, greed is set to take place. You know what I mean? And you're taking from the resources. But the thing is, we champion it because we are marketed to, we are, advertising all that stuff, and we spend our money, which comes from our resources, to because we like to see shiny things. It's just a part of it. Certain brandings, whatever. Um, but if you understand how our economy works, there's actually other places we can get this stuff from, especially because certain people, like they say black people are the number one consumers, because of how we've been marketed to. A lot of Hispanic communities, they don't even see the advertising. Like they don't have no use for like jewelry or grills and stuff like that. I mean, some do clearly because you have, you know, Hispanic gangs and stuff like that. But overall, that's not as rooted in their culture, So they're able to move and do certain things and build certain businesses under the radar. Um, even the idea of making money and sending it back to their people,
Mhm.
all these things are connected in how LA runs, Los Angeles, like, or the idea that, water seeks its own level, right? Like we'll witness places like Louisiana, New Orleans, right? The hurricanes. the water it's built like a bowl, so the water always gonna return there to the point. We just because we came along as human beings and put our houses and stuff there, you think Mother Nature ain't gonna keep doing what it's been doing for thousands of years? Kind of the way I feel about California, a lot of border states through Texas. Mexicans are always going to occupy these areas because at one point all of this was Mexico, all of it.
That's a
And no
fact.
matter how much you push down, it's going to rise back up because they're always a part of the equation. They're always a part of the equation. So I think we're better off finding a solution to what they are, what they represent to the economy, as opposed to looking at them like they're aliens and objects that don't belong here. Because truth be told, they belong here more than most of us do. And if you got rid of all of them overnight, like let's be a little selfish about this. Big skyscraper, billionaires, and all that. Like they're part of the reason why you're able to make the moves you make. You know what I mean? Because if you get rid of them, I said all the time, like, especially when Trump was running, I'm like, people think they got money until you get rid of the poor people. Now you're next, you're the new poor. You know what I mean? That's how everything exists together. You can't just remove the bottom and think that, oh, now we're good. Like, no, there's a new bottom created. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to live in a world where oil changes cost $300. So I need my Mexicans. I don't know about you. I need these people at Home Depots. Now documentation. I understand. Um, Also, I think with this conversation, it always brings up like with the Black Lives Matter protests. What is protesting? What is rioting? I remember very specifically. I knew this was going to happen when the protest was peaceful this time around because back during the BLM protests, I remember we were on Beverly, marching all the way to the Beverly Center. This thing might as well have been like LA Marathon because they had like water stations and snacks. A bunch of white people like go go go. It was like very supportive. But I remember seeing a cop car like on a street by itself, just parked there, and I was like, that's weird. Like, why would they just put a cop? What cop would just park
So
in the middle of the
fool, and
street?
just go crazy
No,
on the car.
there was people dressed in all black. I came back down the street because my parking was up. My meter was up. I parked at a meter. They should, by the way, that these protests, they should just do free parking if they want. Anyway, but I had to go back. So me and my little group saw the car being attacked by just people dressed in all black. I just could not imagine those people being actual protesters. Those are those rioters, which to me are, they could be undercover cops, they could be just a whole other group. I remember Antifa was popping, and sure enough, this go around, same exact thing happened.
Yeah.
First, the protest was peaceful. All of a sudden, you start seeing fires, and then you got the National Guard firing rubber bullets at people. It's like they use this as an excuse to go buck wild. A lot of people are going like, "What about January 6th? What was going on there?" They didn't have that same type of energy for that. But hey, man, it's good to live in LA. That's what I say about that, man. This is an exciting city.
Yeah. So speaking about the place of the fishbowl,
Yeah.
man, oh man, New Orleans.
What
Out of
was going on in New Orleans?
what? The New
Yeah.
Orleans 10.
Okay. What is that's Genesis and what's Central Park Ave?
Oh man. This dude Jeremy been under a rock. Been under two rocks.
Hey, man, I've been surviving protests. This is a New Orleans
Oh
team.
man. It was a prison break.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. They got like seven of them, don't they?
Now they got eight of them.
Eight. Oh, they up to eight. Okay. Yeah, yeah. You're right.
And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
it's two. And then it's two. But man, the one who's been vocal, last name Massey. Oh man,
Mm.
it's like he. Did you see his two social media posts or
No,
one of
I've been
them?
keeping up. Mm-mm.
Oh man, he basically went and tried to plead his case, asked for Jay-Z's help, Kim Kardashian, Donald Trump, you know, all these people to come and help him and do whatever. But his people were just kind of like, man, turn yourself in with a lawyer, fight your case, you know, you know,
Mhm. I
don't.
mean, he's going back to jail. What? Find a lawyer. The lawyer would be like, man, how much money on their head?
Now I think it's 50 a piece.
Man,
It
what
was
lawyer
50
going?
for the two. It was 50 for the two for a long time. And then they bumped it to 50,000 a piece. But the one who hasn't been vocal, who's still missing, they just arrested his girlfriend because she helped.
Man, look, ain't no, bruh. Oof. I know I could be a lawyer. I'm like, yeah, I'll take the case.
God.
And I'll buy my kids Christmas presents. What?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, I feel it. There's a lot of people who are in jail for either cases that, you know, they, things, crimes they didn't commit, or cases that, aren't, like, I know this one guy served 25 year sentence, especially it was a rape case, and yeah, he didn't do it. So I definitely understand that. But yeah, the New Orleans 10, bro, they put that money on their heads. Ooh, that's a hard one.
Man.
Money on their head. What would you do if you escaped prison? Where would you go? What would you do? What's your moves?
Escape prison. He's like, man, like even being in prison, man. What I wouldn't do is talk. You know what I'm saying? And all that stuff. Homeboy over there jumping on the internet trying to plead his case, man. That was the craziest shit ever.
Man, I'll find a place to hide. First and foremost, I'm gonna grab some snacks, and I'm going underground in a hole somewhere. Somewhere I ain't telling nobody. I gotta wait. I gotta wait it out. Like, I'll probably wait like a week. I won't pop up for a week. I go grab some more snacks. You gotta let like 30 days pass. It gotta get old. As long as it's in the current news cycle, you gonna get got. And you can't trust nobody. Because everybody, man, you pissed that girl that held you down. Let's just say she come home and the house ain't clean. You come back, the police is like swinging the cuffs like this. Like, you know what I mean? So
Hey,
yeah, you gotta go, you gotta find a place to disappear. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cut all, you gotta just disappear. But yeah, that's fine. I didn't know it would call the New Orleans 10. Yeah, people been snitching left and right on those guys, so that's crazy.
so the new Friday is about to come out. They're
No, it's
about
not.
they're shooting it. They're shooting it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think they missed a moment. They missed last Friday. John Witherspoon, RIP. I say once he passed, who else passed? Did Debo
I think
pass?
Tiny,
Yeah,
AJ.
Debo. Yeah, we could do a Friday without AJ. We can't do a Friday without, to me, John Witherspoon, without Debo. Uh, Certain people we need. I don't know, to make it a Friday. Uh, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do like a pass the baton type thing. You're gonna get some kids in there. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like Craig's kids, and he gonna be doing quotes.
What they
He
said?
gonna go to the bathroom. He's gonna do those. They gonna finally meet Smokey. Smokey gonna be a pastor or something. That's it. You know.
Yeah, I could say DC Young Fly, talented comedian, because he's supposed to be Chris Tucker's son. I think in the
Who? DCM Fly?
uh-huh.
Oh, he gonna be next Friday?
Uh-huh.
I gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. I know they've been wanting to do this, but they gotta be careful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll tell you who was in the first Friday that we didn't even pay attention to.
Oh,
Uh when
Megan Good?
no.
Okay.
When
She's in there.
when Debo uh took the when the comedian he's passed away. Damn, that's another person that passed away. The dude who played DJ Pooh's father. He was Red something. He was like a
Oh, Red, not the dude that got his chain snatched.
no. So the dude who got his chain snatched was DJ Pooh, the dude who played his father. He's like an old BET type of comedian, comedy view, like an older guy. He was an older guy. I saw him at the airport one time. But anyway, Michael Clark Duncan was there shooting dice with him.
Show us.
He was there. I was
Show
like,
us.
damn. I was like, he was just an extra. Damn, yeah, he was an extra. He was,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, Ronaldo Way.
yep.
Yeah, Ronaldo Way. Yeah, he's a comic view legend. Absolutely. Yeah, amazing. Um, yeah, he passed away. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Michael Clark Duncan. Yeah, Friday launched a lot of careers. Uh, yeah, I mean that was a classic, man. A movie that was pretty much written like it was a B movie, ended up affecting so many lives. I would say if they're going to dive into this movie, this 30-year-old movie, franchise or whatever, you gotta. I would hope that because it each Friday got more comical in tone, and Friday after next was super slapstick. I would like them to bring it down. It don't have to be where the first Friday was at, but just a little bit more comical than the first Friday. And if they could bring the day in the life format, that'd be cool. But yeah, I just don't need because you saw. Did you see the house party? That's my fear.
Shame on him, man. Shame on him. It
That's my
was they didn't need to do that.
yeah. That's my fear. So if they can avoid making something that's on that level, I'll be.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I would say shame on him.
yeah, I gotta get in that movie. Let me see if I get in last Friday. Ice Cube be making some careers now. That's for sure. Like
Fact.
like Cat Williams, man, and I mean, shoot, we can name a whole bunch of people, even like Bernie Mac. It's some classic scenes, man. And that's another thing. Bringing back classic scenes. Every scene got to be like, no. I'm sure they're gonna bring Clifton Powell in there, Pinky. They're
DC
gonna
Curry, man.
yeah, DC, yeah, Curry, yeah, that was good. What's the name?
Kim
Whitney,
Whitley.
Kim Whitley. Yeah, man, so many, bro. Oh my gosh, I'm just looking at this cast. This is ridiculous. Yes, man, they got a big majority of a big majority of the people that's in this movie has passed away.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Was it baby? Not baby D. Was it
Rage. Lady Rage.
No, she's alive. She's alive. But
Oh, I'm sorry.
this is Yvette Wilson. This is D from Moesha.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Not D, not D. She owned the place that they hung. I can't think right now. But yeah.
You're talking about the
She,
one she had short hair and a yeah.
yeah, she passed. Was it Clarence William the third? Man, so many people. Ricky Harris. My God, bro. They cast was
Ricky
crazy.
Harris was in Friday?
Hold on, let me double check.
I
I'm
think
looking.
you lumping. I think you lumping them in, man.
Well, I'm just looking at the cast list, and sometimes it'd be wrong. Let's see. Is he not in Friday? Maybe he wasn't. Okay. All right. Yeah, I was just looking at this is Google, man. Google be wrong sometimes.
Hey, man,
Yeah.
you can go in. You can go to Wikipedia and correct your own stuff. You know what I'm saying? How about that?
Yeah, that is true. That's true. But yeah, yeah, of course, Bernie Mac, man, that's gonna be yeah, man. Oof. They should have made this movie a few years ago. That's all. That's it. That's at least got John Witherspoon in there. That's it. Um, let's see. Well, look, I guess I could talk about BET Awards a little bit. I was there, so yeah. Let me see. I'd say the first highlight they opened up. I would say it was a BET Awards for my era because they had 106 in Park like a tribute and pretty much the biggest songs from there. You had Ashanti. Um, there was a medley that had started with Ashanti, then it went into man, I'm gonna mess this up. I'm just start naming people. Ashanti, Keisha Coles, Maya, uh, dang, Bullet, Jim Jones, T.I., Bow Wow, um, oh, A. Marie. That opening segment was really good. The dancers was really kicking butt. You know, shout out to the writing staff. The writing staff was all the homies. You got Mitch Marchand, Jay Snow. Rob Hayes, Candace Thompson, James Davis. Am I missing anybody? Sarah Tiana. They've all comedians, doing great. Um, I say one of the biggest highlights was Jamie Foxx's speech. Stevie Wonder presented him the award, and him Jamie had the longest speech I've ever witnessed. His speech was like 12 minutes. And he kept doing it. He kept thinking out like, yeah, I know I gotta go. I know I gotta go. But and he did longer speech, so that was kind of funny. Um, yeah, you had Kurt Franklin had honored. Snoop Dogg got honored. Lil Wayne performance. Kevin Hart's opening monologue. He mentions Kanye. Said that he was going. He said, "Don't let him." He said, "I saw sinners. Don't let them in there." Kanye was noticeably quiet about that. I don't know where that came from. Uh,
Hey.
Mariah Carey, Anderson Paak, Rakim came out, did a verse with Mariah Carey. That was tight.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, Dougie Fresh performed with T Pain, Ludacris, and Babyface. That was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah, it was a good year, fun year. BET Awards, and it happened in the middle of the war in Los Angeles, and it went off without a hitch. People thought it was gonna cancel it, but no, it was cool. All the celebrities in one place. I think Lamar showed up this time.
What?
He showed up to get his BET award. He's won 5 years in a row, and he has this is the first time he showed up.
Hey, he on fire, man.
He outside, man. That
Nah.
was cool. Slink was up in there.
He told me.
Yeah, Slink he had some interview thing. I don't know if I said the right stuff during it, so I can't wait to see. But it was cool, man. It was good. It was good.
Hey man, nah, well, hey man, that's been another wild card episode of Splendid Radio on Farside TV. You got any shows coming up?
Shows. Should we? Honestly, I can't think right now. So yes, follow me at Jeremy Comedy. And yeah, Jeremy Scippio. My website I'm rebooting it. Jeremy Scipio, SCIPPIO.com. Yeah, yep, there it is.